This is Mental Forge, where weakness burns and warriors are built. There was a moment when Thomas Edison stood in the ashes of his greatest failure. His entire laboratory had burned to the ground. Decades of work, millions of dollars in equipment, countless inventions and prototypes, all reduced to smoking rubble in a single night. He was 67 years old, and most men would have seen this as the end. But Edison called his son over and said something that would echo through history. He said, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." That night, in the glow of destruction, Edison saw not the end of his dreams, but the beginning of something even greater. He saw hope where others would see only despair. If you found yourself listening to these words today, I believe you're standing at your own crossroads moment. Maybe your dreams feel distant, your circumstances overwhelming, your future uncertain. Maybe you've experienced failures that have shaken your confidence or setbacks that have dimmed your inner light. But I'm here to tell you something that could transform everything about how you see your situation. Hope is not a feeling you wait for. Hope is a decision you make. Hope is a skill you develop. Hope is a practice you cultivate until it becomes as natural as breathing. Over the next hour, we're going to embark on a journey that will fundamentally shift how you approach challenges, setbacks, and the seemingly impossible dreams that call to your heart. You're going to discover the psychological foundations of unshakable hope, the historical examples of people who transformed impossible circumstances into legendary victories, and most importantly, the specific daily practices that will rewire your mind for resilience, abundance, and unstoppable growth. This isn't just about feeling better temporarily. This is about building a fortress of hope in your mind that no external circumstance can ever destroy. By the time we finish this conversation, you'll have a complete blueprint for transforming fear into faith, doubt into determination, and despair into unshakable belief in your ability to create the life you truly desire. The science is clear on this. Neuroplasticity research shows us that our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on what we focus on, what we practice, and what we believe. Every thought you think, every visualization you create, every affirmation you speak is literally reshaping the neural pathways in your brain. Hope isn't just an emotion, it's a neurological pattern that you can strengthen and develop, just like you would strengthen a muscle. But before we dive into the specific strategies and practices, let me share something that might surprise you about hope itself. Most people think hope is passive, something you do when you have no other options. They think hope is wishful thinking or naive optimism. But true hope, the kind that moves mountains and transforms lives, is actually the most active and strategic mindset you can develop. Hope is the ability to see possibilities where others see problems. Hope is the discipline to focus on solutions while others focus on obstacles. Hope is the courage to take action in the face of uncertainty. Hope is the wisdom to understand that every ending is also a beginning. Every setback is also a setup for a comeback, and every crisis contains within it the seeds of extraordinary opportunity. Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps. In the most hopeless circumstances imaginable, surrounded by death and suffering, Frankl discovered something profound about the human spirit. He realized that while the Nazis could control his external circumstances, they could never control his internal response to those circumstances. In his mind, he had the freedom to choose his attitude, to find meaning in his suffering, and to maintain hope for the future. Frankl noticed that the prisoners who survived were not necessarily the physically strongest or the most privileged. They were the ones who maintained hope. They were the ones who could envision a future beyond their current circumstances. They were the ones who found meaning and purpose, even in the midst of unimaginable hardship. This observation led Frankl to develop what he called logotherapy, the idea that our primary drive as human beings is not pleasure or power, but meaning. What Frankl understood, and what you need to understand, is that hope is not dependent on external circumstances. Hope is an internal posture, a way of engaging with reality that transforms not just how you feel, but how you think, how you act, and ultimately, what you achieve. The first foundation of unshakable hope is what I call radical responsibility. This means accepting complete responsibility not for what happens to you, but for how you respond to what happens to you. When you truly embrace radical responsibility, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the architect of your transformation. This doesn't mean denying that bad things happen or pretending that challenges don't exist. It means recognizing that within every challenge lies an opportunity for growth, learning, and breakthrough. It means understanding that your response to adversity is where your true power lies. Think about Stephen King, who received 60 rejections for his first novel Carrie before it was finally published. Each rejection could have been seen as evidence that he wasn't good enough, that his dream of being a writer was foolish. Instead, King chose to see each rejection as feedback, as information that helped him improve his craft. He chose to see each no as one step closer to yes. That radical responsibility, that refusal to let external circumstances define his internal reality, eventually led to him becoming one of the most successful authors in history. The second foundation of unshakable hope is what I call vision casting. This is the practice of creating such a vivid, compelling picture of your desired future that it pulls you forward through any temporary challenges or setbacks. Your vision becomes your North Star, guiding you through the storms and keeping you focused on your destination rather than your current location. But vision casting isn't just about setting goals or creating vision boards. It's about developing the mental discipline to see possibilities that don't yet exist in physical reality. It's about training your imagination to be stronger than your memories, your dreams to be more powerful than your doubts, and your faith to be more compelling than your fears. Let me tell you about a young girl who was born into poverty in rural Mississippi. She was abused, neglected, and told repeatedly that she would never amount to anything. By every statistical measure, she should have become another tragic story of wasted potential. But this girl had something that statistics couldn't measure. She had an unshakable vision of a different life. She could see herself succeeding, thriving, making a difference in the world, even when no external evidence supported that vision. That girl was Oprah Winfrey, and her ability to cast a vision beyond her circumstances, to see possibilities that others couldn't see, eventually transformed her into one of the most influential people in the world. But it started with hope. It started with the decision to believe in a future that didn't yet exist, and to take action based on that belief rather than her current reality. Vision casting is a skill, and like any skill, it can be developed through practice. Every morning, you can spend 10 minutes visualizing your ideal life with such detail and emotional intensity that your subconscious mind begins to accept it as inevitable. You can write about your future as if it's already happened, speak about your goals as if they're already achieved, and act with the confidence of someone who knows their dreams are not just possible but certain. The third foundation of unshakable hope is what I call evidence gathering. This is the practice of actively looking for and collecting evidence that your dreams are possible, that you have what it takes to achieve them, and that the universe is conspiring to help you succeed. Most people do the opposite. They gather evidence for why their dreams are impossible, why they're not good enough, why the odds are against them. They focus on their failures, their limitations, and their past mistakes. They build a case against themselves and then wonder why they feel hopeless. But when you consciously choose to gather evidence for your success, something magical happens. You start to notice opportunities you previously overlooked. You begin to see your strengths more clearly. You recognize patterns of growth and progress that were always there, but were invisible when you were focused on what wasn't working. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It means choosing to focus on solutions rather than problems, on possibilities rather than limitations, on progress rather than perfection. It means training yourself to see the evidence that supports your dreams with the same intensity that you previously used to see evidence against them. I want you to think about Colonel Sanders, who was 65 years old when he was forced to sell his restaurant because a new interstate highway bypassed his location. Most people that age would have accepted defeat and settled into retirement. But Sanders looked at his situation and gathered different evidence. He had a recipe for fried chicken that people loved. He had decades of experience in the restaurant business. He had the time and energy to pursue a new venture. He chose to see opportunity where others would see only obstacles. Sanders took his chicken recipe and drove around the country, sleeping in his car, trying to convince restaurant owners to use his recipe in exchange for a percentage of sales. He was rejected over 1,000 times. 1,000 times. But he kept gathering evidence that his idea was good, that people loved his chicken, that he was one yes away from changing everything. That persistence, that refusal to accept defeat, eventually led to the creation of KFC and made Sanders a multi-millionaire. The fourth foundation of unshakable hope is what I call faith-based action. This means taking consistent action toward your goals, even when you can't see the complete path, even when you don't have all the resources you think you need, even when others doubt your ability to succeed. Faith-based action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the practice of acting as if your success is inevitable, even when your current circumstances suggest otherwise. It's the discipline of doing what successful people do, even before you feel like a successful person. Most people wait for motivation before they take action. They wait to feel confident before they act confidently. They wait for circumstances to improve before they start working toward their goals. But hope-filled people understand that action creates motivation, not the other way around. They understand that you become what you repeatedly do, and that identity follows behavior, not the other way around. Think about Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, who left a high-paying job on Wall Street to start an online bookstore in his garage. At the time, the internet was still new, online shopping was virtually non-existent, and most people thought the idea of buying books online was ridiculous. Bezos didn't have a guarantee of success. He didn't have complete information about how the business would develop. But he had enough evidence to take the first step, and he had enough faith to keep taking steps even when the path ahead was unclear. Bezos understood something crucial about hope and success. He understood that you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. He understood that clarity comes through action, not before action. He understood that the path reveals itself to those who are walking on it, not to those who are standing still, waiting for perfect conditions. This is where many people get stuck. They want guarantees before they take action. They want to see the whole plan before they take the first step. They want to feel confident before they act confidently. But hope-filled people understand that faith and action are partners. Faith gives you the courage to act, and action gives you the evidence to increase your faith. Every day, you have the opportunity to take faith-based action. You can apply for that job even if you're not 100% qualified. You can start that business even if you don't have all the resources you think you need. You can pursue that relationship even if you're not sure of the outcome. You can invest in your education even if you don't know exactly how it will pay off. Faith-based action is not reckless action. It's intelligent action based on the best information available, combined with the courage to move forward despite uncertainty. It's the willingness to course correct as you go, rather than waiting for perfect conditions that may never come. Let me pause here for a moment to say that if you're finding value in these ideas, if something is resonating with you, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. We're building a community of people who are committed to growth, to hope, to becoming the best versions of themselves. Your subscription helps us reach more people who need these messages, and it ensures you don't miss any of the content we're creating to support your journey. The fifth foundation of unshakable hope is what I call identity shifting. This is perhaps the most powerful practice we'll discuss, because it addresses the root cause of most people's struggles with hope and achievement. Your identity, how you see yourself at the deepest level, determines your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, and ultimately, your results. Most people operate from an identity based on their past experiences, their current circumstances, or other people's opinions of them. They see themselves as victims, as failures, as people who don't have what it takes to achieve their dreams. This identity becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, creating thoughts and behaviors that reinforce their limitations. But when you consciously choose to shift your identity, when you begin to see yourself as the person you're becoming rather than the person you've been, everything changes. Your thoughts align with your new identity. Your behaviors align with your new identity. Your results begin to align with your new identity. This is exactly what happened to a young man named Sylvester Stallone. He was a struggling actor with a speech impediment, living in poverty, sleeping in bus stations. He had been rejected by countless casting directors and told he would never make it as an actor. Most people would have accepted this verdict and found another career path. But Stallone had a different identity. In his mind, he wasn't a failed actor. He was a successful actor who simply hadn't had his breakthrough yet. He wasn't a victim of his circumstances. He was a hero in his own story, facing challenges that would make his eventual victory even more meaningful. When Stallone wrote the script for Rocky, he was offered a significant amount of money to sell it, with the condition that he wouldn't star in the film. Despite being nearly broke, Stallone refused. He knew that Rocky wasn't just a script to him. Rocky was his story, his identity, his vision of who he was becoming. He was willing to risk everything because he understood that his identity as the star of his own story was more valuable than any amount of money. That decision, that refusal to compromise his identity, eventually led to Rocky becoming one of the most successful films of all time and launched Stallone into superstardom. But it started with identity. It started with seeing himself differently than his circumstances suggested he should. You have the same opportunity every day. You can choose to see yourself as someone who is growing, learning, and moving toward their dreams, regardless of your current circumstances. You can choose to identity with your potential rather than your past. You can choose to see yourself as someone who finds solutions, who overcomes obstacles, who creates value in the world. This identity shift isn't about pretending to be something you're not. It's about aligning with who you're becoming. It's about seeing the person you're growing into and allowing that vision to influence your thoughts and behaviors today. The sixth foundation of unshakable hope is what I call systems thinking. This means understanding that hope isn't just a feeling or an attitude, but a complete system of beliefs, habits, and practices that work together to create consistent progress toward your goals. Most people approach hope in a random, inconsistent way. They feel hopeful when things are going well and hopeless when things are challenging. They rely on external motivation rather than internal discipline. They focus on goals rather than systems, on outcomes rather than processes. But people with unshakable hope understand that hope is a practice, not just a feeling. They create daily habits that reinforce their optimism. They develop mental disciplines that keep them focused on possibilities. They build support systems that encourage their growth. They create accountability structures that ensure consistent progress. Think about how Thomas Edison approached invention. He didn't just hope that he would create useful innovations. He created a systematic approach to invention that virtually guaranteed success. He built a laboratory specifically designed for experimentation. He hired teams of skilled assistants. He established processes for testing ideas, documenting results, and building on previous discoveries. He turned hope into a systematic practice. Edison understood that while inspiration might strike randomly, innovation happens systematically. While motivation might come and go, momentum comes from consistent daily practices. While hope might feel emotional, it functions best when it's supported by intelligent systems and structures. You can apply this same systematic approach to building hope in your own life. You can create morning rituals that start each day with optimism and intention. You can establish evening practices that help you reflect on progress and maintain perspective. You can build weekly reviews that help you course correct and celebrate growth. You can create monthly challenges that stretch your capabilities and build confidence. The key is to understand that hope, like any other capacity, grows stronger with practice and weaker with neglect. The more systematically you practice hope, the more naturally it will flow through your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Consider the story of Mahatma Gandhi, whose hope for India's independence seemed impossible against the might of the British Empire. Gandhi didn't rely on sporadic bursts of optimism or occasional protests. He created a systematic approach to social change that included daily spiritual practices, consistent nonviolent resistance, regular fasting and prayer, and ongoing education of his followers. Gandhi's hope wasn't just a feeling. It was a complete system that included philosophy, methodology, and daily practices. This systematic approach sustained him through decades of struggle and ultimately achieved what seemed impossible: the peaceful liberation of an entire nation. Your dreams might not be about liberating a nation, but the principle remains the same. The more systematic you are about practicing hope, the more powerful it becomes. The more consistently you engage in hope-building activities, the stronger your capacity becomes for maintaining optimism and taking effective action even in difficult circumstances. The seventh foundation of unshakable hope is what I call purpose alignment. This means connecting your daily actions to a deeper sense of meaning and contribution that extends beyond your personal circumstances or immediate desires. When your hope is connected to a larger purpose, it becomes virtually indestructible. When you understand that your success serves not just yourself but others, your motivation becomes unshakable. When you realize that your growth contributes to something bigger than yourself, you find the strength to persist through any temporary setbacks or challenges. This is what sustained Martin Luther King Jr. through years of opposition, criticism, and personal danger. His hope wasn't just for his own success, or even for his own community. His hope was connected to a vision of justice and equality that would benefit all of humanity. This larger purpose gave him the strength to continue even when progress seemed slow and obstacles seemed insurmountable. King understood that hope connected to purpose is hope that cannot be destroyed by external circumstances. When you're fighting for something bigger than yourself, when your dreams serve others as well as yourself, you tap into a source of energy and resilience that goes far beyond personal motivation. You can apply this principle by connecting your goals to your values, your dreams to your desire to contribute, your success to your ability to serve others. When you understand how your personal growth enables you to make a greater difference in the world, you unlock levels of motivation and persistence that you never knew you had. Maybe your business dream isn't just about making money, but about creating jobs and serving customers in meaningful ways. Maybe your health goals aren't just about looking good, but about having the energy to be fully present for the people you love. Maybe your educational pursuits aren't just about personal advancement, but about developing the knowledge and skills to solve important problems. The eighth foundation of unshakable hope is what I call resilience building. This means consciously developing your capacity to bounce back from setbacks, to learn from failures, and to use challenges as opportunities for growth and strength development. Resilience isn't something you're born with or without. It's a skill that can be developed through practice and intention. Every challenge you face, every setback you experience, every failure you encounter is an opportunity to build your resilience, muscle, and increase your capacity for hope. Most people see setbacks as evidence that they should give up, that their dreams are unrealistic, that they don't have what it takes to succeed. But people with unshakable hope see setbacks differently. They see setbacks as feedback, as information, as stepping stones to success rather than roadblocks. Consider the story of Walt Disney, who was fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination and having no good ideas. His first animation company went bankrupt. He was told that Mickey Mouse would fail because women would be afraid of a giant mouse on the screen. He was rejected by over 300 banks when seeking financing for Disneyland because they thought an amusement park based on cartoon characters would never work. Each of these setbacks could have convinced Disney to give up on his dreams. Instead, he used each setback as information that helped him refine his approach, strengthen his resolve, and eventually create one of the most successful entertainment empires in history. Disney understood that resilience isn't about avoiding failure. Resilience is about learning how to fail forward, how to extract value from every experience, how to use setbacks as setups for comebacks. He understood that the most successful people aren't those who never face challenges, but those who develop the greatest capacity to overcome challenges. You can build your resilience by changing how you interpret setbacks. Instead of seeing them as evidence of your limitations, see them as evidence of your courage for trying. Instead of seeing them as reasons to quit, see them as reasons to adjust your approach. Instead of seeing them as personal failures, see them as natural parts of any meaningful journey. You can also build resilience by consciously seeking out challenges that stretch your capabilities. Instead of avoiding difficult situations, Intentionally put yourself in situations that require growth. Instead of playing it safe, take calculated risks that expand your comfort zone. Instead of waiting for confidence, build confidence through action. The ninth foundation of unshakable hope is what I call gratitude amplification. This means consciously focusing on and appreciating what's already working in your life, what resources you already have, and what progress you've already made, while simultaneously holding space for even greater possibilities. Gratitude and hope aren't opposites, they're partners. Gratitude gives you a foundation of appreciation for what is, while hope gives you excitement about what could be. Together, they create a powerful emotional state that attracts more reasons to be both grateful and hopeful. Most people think they'll be grateful when they achieve their goals, when they get what they want, when their circumstances improve. But people with unshakable hope understand that gratitude is not a result of success. Gratitude is a cause of success. The more grateful you are for what you have, the more you'll have to be grateful for. This isn't just philosophical wisdom, it's practical psychology. When you focus on what's working, your brain literally looks for more evidence of what's working. When you appreciate your current resources, you become more creative about leveraging those resources. When you acknowledge your progress, you build momentum for continued growth. Think about how this principle applied to Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. Despite facing the most challenging circumstances any American president had ever faced, Lincoln maintained his capacity for both gratitude and hope. He was grateful for the strengths of the Union, for the dedication of his generals, for the support of the people, while simultaneously holding hope for reunification and the end of slavery. Lincoln's ability to hold both gratitude for what was working and hope for what could be better enabled him to make decisions from a place of strength rather than desperation, to inspire others even in the darkest moments, and to ultimately guide the nation through its greatest crisis. You can practice gratitude amplification by starting each day with a reflection on what you're grateful for, not just in your personal life, but in your progress toward your goals. You can end each day by acknowledging the steps you took, the lessons you learned, and the growth you experienced. You can regularly celebrate small wins and incremental progress, understanding that massive success is built from many small successes. I hope you're beginning to see how these foundations work together to create unshakable hope. Each one reinforces the others, creating a comprehensive system for maintaining optimism, taking effective action, and making consistent progress toward your most important goals. If you're getting value from this content, I want to encourage you again to subscribe to this channel and share this message with someone who might need to hear it. Hope is contagious, and by sharing these ideas, you become part of spreading hope to others who are facing their own challenges and pursuing their own dreams. Now, let's talk about how to build what I call your hope fortress. A complete mental and emotional structure that protects your dreams from the inevitable storms of doubt, criticism, and temporary setbacks. Your hope fortress is built from 5 essential walls, and each wall must be strong and well-maintained for the entire structure to provide reliable protection. The first wall is your belief system. This includes not just what you believe about your goals, but what you believe about yourself, about life, about the nature of success and failure, about the universe's response to your efforts. Most people inherit their belief systems from their families, their culture, their past experiences, or their peer groups, but people with unshakable hope consciously choose their belief systems based on what serves their growth and supports their dreams. They understand that beliefs are not facts, but tools, and they choose tools that empower rather than limit. Examine your current beliefs about what's possible for your life. Do you believe that people like you can achieve extraordinary success? Do you believe that the universe supports your dreams? Do you believe that you have unique gifts and talents that the world needs? Do you believe that setbacks are temporary and comebacks are possible? If your current beliefs don't support your dreams, it's time to consciously choose new beliefs that do. This isn't about denying reality or engaging in wishful thinking. This is about recognizing that your beliefs about reality are not reality itself, and choosing beliefs that enable you to create the reality you desire. The second wall of your hope fortress is your peer group, the people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, the energy you absorb from others, all have a profound impact on your ability to maintain hope and take effective action toward your goals. If you're surrounded by people who complain about their circumstances, who focus on limitations rather than possibilities, who discourage big dreams and ambitious goals, their influence will inevitably affect your mindset. Not because you're weak, but because human beings are social creatures who unconsciously adapt to their social environment. This doesn't mean you need to abandon everyone in your life who doesn't share your ambitions. But it does mean you need to consciously seek out and spend time with people who inspire you, who challenge you to grow, who believe in possibilities, who support your dreams even when they don't fully understand them. Look for mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. Find peers who are pursuing similar goals with similar intensity. Connect with communities of people who share your values and your commitment to growth. Read books by people who inspire you. Listen to content created by people who elevate your thinking and encourage your action. The third wall of your hope fortress is your information diet. Just as the food you eat affects your physical health, the information you consume affects your mental and emotional health. If you're constantly consuming negative news, pessimistic analysis, and discouraging content, you're feeding your mind ingredients that create doubt, fear, and hopelessness. This doesn't mean becoming uninformed about important events in the world, but it does mean being selective about what information you consume and when you consume it. It means balancing awareness of challenges with focus on solutions. It means consuming content that educates, inspires, and empowers you, rather than content that merely entertains or agitates you. Create a deliberate information diet that includes books, podcasts, videos, and articles that support your growth and reinforce your hope. Limit exposure to content that drains your energy or undermines your confidence. Choose information sources that help you think bigger, act bolder, and believe more strongly in your ability to create positive change. The fourth wall of your hope fortress is your physical environment. Your surroundings have a powerful influence on your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. If your environment is chaotic, cluttered, or uninspiring, it will be more difficult to maintain the mental clarity and emotional energy needed to pursue ambitious goals. Create spaces that inspire you, that remind you of your dreams, that make you feel capable and confident. This might mean organizing your workspace, decorating with images that represent your goals, or simply keeping your environment clean and orderly. It might mean creating a dedicated space for your morning visioning, your planning, or your creative work. Your physical environment should support the person you're becoming, not reinforce the person you've been. If you want to feel more professional, create a more professional environment. If you want to feel more creative, create a more inspiring environment. If you want to feel more disciplined, create a more organized environment. The fifth wall of your hope fortress is your habits and routines. The daily practices you engage in, the weekly rhythms you maintain, the monthly reviews you conduct, all create a structure that supports consistent progress toward your goals or consistent drift away from them. People with unshakable hope don't rely on motivation or inspiration to maintain their progress. They create systems and routines that ensure forward movement, regardless of how they feel on any given day. They understand that small actions taken consistently create far greater results than large actions taken sporadically. Your habits and routines should be designed to reinforce your identity as someone who achieves their goals, to maintain your physical and mental energy, to ensure consistent progress on your most important projects, and to connect you regularly with sources of inspiration and guidance. This might include morning routines that set a positive tone for the day, evening routines that help you reflect and plan, weekly reviews that help you course correct and celebrate progress, monthly challenges that stretch your capabilities, and quarterly planning sessions that ensure you're staying aligned with your long-term vision. Let me tell you about the mindset that sustained Franklin Roosevelt through the Great Depression and World War II. When Roosevelt took office, the country was in the depths of economic collapse. Banks were failing, unemployment was rampant, and people had lost hope in the future. Roosevelt could have focused on the magnitude of the problems, on how difficult the solutions would be, on how many people were suffering. Instead, Roosevelt chose to focus on possibilities. In his first inaugural address, he declared that the only thing to fear was fear itself. He understood that hope was not just a nice sentiment, but a practical necessity for overcoming massive challenges. He understood that people who believe in the possibility of solutions are far more likely to find and implement those solutions than people who focus primarily on problems. Roosevelt created what he called fireside chats, radio broadcasts where he spoke directly to the American people about the challenges they faced and the progress they were making. He didn't minimize the difficulties, but he always framed them within a context of hope and possibility. He helped people see that temporary setbacks were not permanent defeats, that current struggles were steps toward future prosperity. Roosevelt's hope wasn't naive optimism. It was strategic optimism based on his understanding that mindset determines outcomes, that belief shapes behavior, and that leaders who maintain hope inspire others to maintain hope and take effective action, even in difficult circumstances. You may not be leading a nation through crisis, but you are leading your own life through whatever challenges you currently face. The same principles that enabled Roosevelt to maintain hope and inspire action during the darkest period of American history can enable you to maintain hope and take effective action during whatever difficulties you're currently experiencing. The key is understanding that hope is not passive waiting for better circumstances. Hope is active engagement with current circumstances from a perspective of possibility rather than limitation. Hope is choosing to focus on what you can control rather than what you cannot control. Hope is taking action based on your vision of the future rather than your assessment of current obstacles. This brings us to what I call the hope multiplication effect. When you consistently practice the foundations and daily habits we've discussed, something remarkable happens. Your hope doesn't just improve your own life. It begins to positively influence everyone around you. People are drawn to hopeful people because hope is contagious. When you embody unshakable hope, you give others permission to hope as well. When you pursue your dreams with confidence and persistence, you inspire others to believe in their own dreams. When you overcome obstacles with grace and determination, you show others that obstacles can be overcome. This multiplication effect means that your commitment to building unshakable hope serves not just yourself, but everyone whose life you touch. Your children see an example of what's possible when someone refuses to give up on their dreams. Your friends receive encouragement to pursue their own goals more boldly. Your coworkers witness what it looks like to approach challenges with creativity and optimism. Your hope becomes a gift to the world, a light that helps others find their way through their own darkness. A reminder that no matter how difficult circumstances become, there are always possibilities for growth, contribution, and positive change. Let me share the story of a woman who understood this multiplication effect better than almost anyone in history. Mother Teresa worked with the poorest of the poor in the slums of Calcutta, India. The conditions she faced daily would have overwhelmed most people. The poverty was extreme, the diseases were devastating, the suffering was profound. But Mother Teresa maintained unshakable hope based on her belief that every person had infinite worth and dignity, that every act of love mattered, that even small acts of compassion could transform lives. Her hope wasn't based on her ability to eliminate poverty or cure all diseases. Her hope was based on her commitment to serve love wherever she found suffering. That hope sustained her through decades of challenging work. But more importantly, her hope inspired thousands of other people to join her mission, millions of people to increase their own compassion and service, and countless individuals to believe that they too could make a difference in the world. Mother Teresa understood that hope is not about the size of your impact, but about the sincerity of your service. She understood that you don't have to change the whole world to change someone's world. She understood that hope is not diminished by sharing it, but multiplied through sharing it. This principle applies to whatever dreams and goals you're pursuing. Your hope doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. Your confidence doesn't have to be complete to be compelling. Your example doesn't have to be flawless to be inspiring. The very act of pursuing your dreams with hope and persistence gives others permission to pursue their dreams as well. The very act of refusing to give up on yourself gives others courage to refuse to give up on themselves. The very act of believing in possibilities despite current limitations helps others see possibilities in their own lives. Before we continue, I want to pause again and encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We're building a community of people who are committed to hope, growth, and positive change. Your subscription helps us reach more people who need these messages, and it ensures you have access to all the content we're creating to support your journey toward your dreams. Now let's discuss what I call hope maintenance, the practices and perspectives that keep your hope strong during the inevitable periods when external circumstances are challenging and internal motivation is low. The first principle of hope maintenance is understanding the difference between temporary and permanent. Most of the challenges you face, most of the setbacks you experience, most of the obstacles you encounter are temporary. But when you're in the middle of difficult circumstances, they often feel permanent. Hope maintenance means regularly reminding yourself that this too shall pass, that current challenges are temporary stops on your journey rather than final destinations, that what seems overwhelming today will likely seem manageable from the perspective of your future success. This doesn't mean minimizing real challenges or pretending that difficulties don't matter, but it does mean maintaining perspective about the temporary nature of most problems and the permanent nature of the growth that comes from overcoming them. The second principle of hope maintenance is focusing on process rather than outcomes. When you focus primarily on outcomes, your hope becomes dependent on external results that you don't completely control. But when you focus primarily on process, your hope is sustained by your commitment to consistent action that you do completely control. Instead of asking, "Am I there yet?" ask, "Am I growing?" Instead of measuring only final results, measure daily progress. Instead of waiting for complete success to feel hopeful, find hope in your willingness to keep working, keep learning, keep improving, keep serving. The third principle of hope maintenance is what I call strategic ignorance. This means consciously choosing to ignore information, opinions, and circumstances that don't serve your growth or support your dreams. You don't have to pay attention to every criticism. You don't have to absorb every negative prediction. You don't have to consider every reason why your dreams might not work out. You can choose to focus your mental energy on information and perspectives that help you move forward, rather than information and perspectives that encourage you to give up. This isn't about denial or avoiding reality. This is about recognizing that there's far more information available than you can possibly process, and choosing to focus on information that serves your growth, rather than information that undermines your confidence. The fourth principle of hope maintenance is celebrating small wins. Most people wait for major breakthroughs to celebrate their progress, but people with unshakable hope understand that major breakthroughs are built from many small advances, and they celebrate those small advances along the way. Every day you take action toward your goals, you've won. Every day you choose hope over fear, you've won. Every day you persist despite challenges, you've won. Every day you maintain your vision despite obstacles, you've won. These small wins accumulate into major victories over time. But more importantly, celebrating small wins maintains your emotional momentum during the long journey between starting and succeeding. The fifth principle of hope maintenance is what I call possibility thinking. This means training your mind to automatically look for opportunities within challenges, to see potential solutions before focusing on problems, to ask, "How might this work?" before asking, "Why won't this work?" Possibility thinking is a mental discipline that becomes stronger with practice. The more consistently you choose to look for possibilities, the more naturally your mind will generate possibilities. The more you focus on potential solutions, the more creative you become at finding actual solutions. This mental discipline is what enabled the Wright brothers to achieve what everyone else thought was impossible. While others focused on why human flight was impossible, the Wright brothers focused on how human flight might be possible. While others compiled evidence for why it couldn't work, the Wright brothers gathered evidence for how it could work. The Wright brothers didn't ignore the challenges of flight. They studied them intensively, but they studied challenges from a perspective of possibility rather than limitation. They asked not, "Why can't humans fly?" but, "What would have to be true for humans to fly?" That shift in perspective made all the difference between accepting impossibility and creating the impossible. You can apply possibility thinking to whatever challenges you're currently facing. Instead of asking, "Why is this so hard?" ask, "How can I make this easier?" Instead of asking, "Why isn't this working?" ask, "What would have to change for this to work?" Instead of asking, "Why don't I have what I need?" ask, "How can I get what I need or achieve my goals with what I already have?" The sixth principle of hope maintenance is building what I call evidence momentum. This means consciously collecting and reviewing evidence that your dreams are achievable, that you're making progress, that you have what it takes to succeed, and that the universe is supporting your efforts. Most people do the opposite. They collect evidence for why their dreams are unrealistic, why they're not making enough progress, why they don't have what it takes, and why circumstances are working against them. This evidence collection becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that undermines hope and discourages action. But when you consciously collect evidence that supports your dreams and demonstrates your progress, you build momentum that carries you through temporary setbacks and challenging periods. Your evidence becomes a resource that you can draw upon when external circumstances are discouraging. Start an evidence file where you record every piece of feedback that indicates you're on the right track. Every sign of progress, no matter how small, every indication that others believe in you and your dreams, every synchronicity that suggests the universe is supporting your efforts. Review this evidence regularly, especially when you're feeling discouraged or doubtful. Let this evidence remind you that your dreams are not fantasies, but possibilities that are steadily becoming realities through your consistent action and unwavering commitment. Let me tell you about a young woman named Oprah Winfrey who built incredible evidence momentum despite facing circumstances that could have easily destroyed her hope. Born into poverty, abused as a child, told by teachers and counselors that she would never amount to anything, Oprah had plenty of evidence that success was unlikely for someone like her. But instead of focusing on evidence against her success, Oprah chose to focus on evidence for her potential. She noticed that she had a natural ability to connect with people. She observed that she was genuinely curious about others and their stories. She recognized that she had the courage to ask difficult questions and address challenging topics. Oprah collected and built upon this evidence systematically. She sought out opportunities to develop her communication skills. She volunteered for speaking engagements. She applied for jobs in media even when she didn't meet all the qualifications. She treated every interview, every audition, every opportunity as a chance to gather more evidence of her capabilities. This evidence momentum sustained her through countless rejections, setbacks, and criticisms. When others focused on her background, her race, her gender, or her unconventional approach, Oprah focused on the evidence that she was building a unique ability to inspire, educate, and empower others. That evidence momentum eventually carried her to levels of success that seemed impossible from her starting point. But it began with a decision to collect evidence for her possibilities rather than evidence for her limitations. You have the same choice available to you every day. You can collect evidence for why your dreams won't work, or you can collect evidence for how they will work. You can focus on your limitations, or you can focus on your potential. You can build a case against yourself, or you can build a case for yourself. The evidence you choose to collect will largely determine whether you maintain hope during challenging times or lose hope when circumstances become difficult. Choose to build evidence momentum that supports your dreams rather than evidence that undermines them. The seventh principle of hope maintenance is what I call vision anchoring. This means creating such a vivid, compelling picture of your desired future that it serves as an anchor during storms of doubt, criticism, and temporary setbacks. Your vision should be more than just goals or objectives. Your vision should be a complete picture of who you're becoming, how you're contributing, what your life looks like when you're fully expressing your potential and living your purpose. This vision should be detailed enough that you can see it, feel it, and experience it in your imagination with such reality that it becomes more compelling than current circumstances. When challenges arise, when progress seems slow, when others doubt your direction, your vision pulls you forward and reminds you why your current efforts are worthwhile. Vision anchoring is what enabled John Kennedy to commit America to landing on the moon, despite having technology that was nowhere near capable of achieving such a goal. Kennedy's vision was so clear and compelling that it inspired an entire generation of scientists, engineers, and leaders to work together to make the impossible possible. Kennedy understood that without a compelling vision, people focus primarily on current limitations, but with a compelling vision, people focus primarily on future possibilities and find ways to overcome current limitations. Your vision doesn't have to be as grand as landing on the moon, but it should be compelling enough to pull you through the inevitable challenges of pursuing meaningful goals. It should be clear enough that you can describe it to others and inspiring enough that it motivates consistent action even when motivation is low. Spend time regularly reviewing and refining your vision. Write about it, visualize it, talk about it with supportive people, and take actions that align with it. The more anchored you are in your vision, the less you'll be shaken by temporary storms. Now let's talk about what I call hope acceleration. The strategies that don't just maintain your hope during difficult times, but actually increase your hope and momentum, even when circumstances are challenging. The first strategy for hope acceleration is what I call challenge embracing. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles to your dreams, you learn to see challenges as accelerated opportunities for growth, strength development, and skill building. When you embrace challenges rather than resist them, you transform the energy that would normally be spent on worry, frustration, or discouragement into energy that can be channeled toward creative solutions and determined action. This shift in perspective is what enabled Nelson Mandela to emerge from 27 years in prison not bitter and broken, but more powerful and influential than when he entered. Mandela chose to see his imprisonment not as the end of his dreams for a free South Africa, but as preparation for the leadership role he would need to play in creating that free South Africa. During his years in prison, Mandela studied, reflected, planned, and developed the wisdom and emotional strength that would later enable him to guide South Africa through a peaceful transition from apartheid to democracy. He used his challenge as a university for developing the qualities he would need to fulfill his ultimate purpose. You can apply challenge embracing to whatever difficulties you're currently facing. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How is this preparing me for my next level of success?" Instead of asking, "When will this be over?" ask, "What can I learn from this that will help me serve others more effectively?" The second strategy for hope acceleration is what I call service expansion. When your hope is focused only on your own success, it's vulnerable to being shaken by personal setbacks. But when your hope is connected to how your success enables you to serve others more effectively, it becomes virtually unshakable. Every skill you develop, every challenge you overcome, every level of success you achieve increases your capacity to contribute to others and make a positive difference in the world. When you understand this connection, temporary setbacks become less discouraging because you understand that they're not just affecting you, but they're affecting everyone you'll eventually serve. This perspective sustained Viktor Frankl through the concentration camps, Martin Luther King through years of opposition, and Mother Teresa through decades of work with the poorest of the poor. Their hope was not primarily about their personal circumstances, but about their ability to serve others and contribute to positive change in the world. Connect your dreams to your desire to serve. Understand how your personal growth enables greater contribution. See your success as not just personal achievement, but as increasing your capacity to make a positive difference in the lives of others. The third strategy for hope acceleration is what I call learning amplification. This means approaching every experience, whether positive or negative, successful or unsuccessful, as an opportunity to gain knowledge, skills, or wisdom that will help you succeed more effectively in the future. When you amplify the learning from every experience, nothing is wasted. Every failure becomes feedback. Every setback becomes education. Every mistake becomes wisdom. Every challenge becomes strength training. This learning approach is what enabled Thomas Edison to maintain hope through thousands of failed experiments. Edison didn't see his failures as evidence that he was on the wrong track. He saw his failures as education about what didn't work. which brought him closer to discovering what did work. Edison famously said he didn't fail thousands of times while inventing the light bulb. He found thousands of ways that didn't work. This reframe transformed his failures from sources of discouragement into sources of progress and hope. You can amplify learning from your own experiences by asking better questions. Instead of, "Why did this go wrong?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of, "How can I avoid making mistakes?" ask, "How can I learn faster from the mistakes I make?" Instead of, "Why don't I know how to do this?" ask, "How can I develop the knowledge and skills I need?" The fourth strategy for hope acceleration is what I call momentum stacking. This means organizing your activities and goals so that progress in one area supports and accelerates progress in other areas, creating compound momentum rather than scattered effort. When you stack momentum effectively, every action you take creates multiple benefits. Every skill you develop serves multiple purposes. Every relationship you build opens multiple opportunities. Every habit you establish supports multiple goals. This approach is what enabled Benjamin Franklin to achieve extraordinary success in multiple areas, including science, business, politics, and diplomacy. Franklin understood that the same principles and practices that led to success in one area could be applied to create success in other areas. Franklin's scientific curiosity enhanced his business innovations. His business success provided resources for political involvement. His political experience prepared him for diplomatic service. His diplomatic achievements enhanced his scientific reputation. Each area of success supported and accelerated success in other areas. You can create momentum stacking by choosing goals that complement each other, developing skills that serve multiple purposes, and building relationships that support various aspects of your vision. Instead of pursuing separate, unrelated goals, look for ways to create synergy between different areas of your life. The fifth strategy for hope acceleration is what I call exponential thinking. This means understanding that growth is not linear but exponential, that small, consistent actions can create massive results over time, and that breakthrough moments often come after long periods of steady progress. Most people give up on their dreams because they expect linear progress and become discouraged when results don't match their timeline. But people with unshakable hope understand that meaningful success follows an exponential curve, with slow progress initially, followed by rapid acceleration. This understanding is what enabled Jeff Bezos to maintain hope during Amazon's early years, when the company was losing money and critics were predicting failure. Bezos understood that he was building systems and capabilities that would eventually create exponential returns, even though those returns weren't immediately visible. Bezos focused on customer satisfaction, operational efficiency, and long-term value creation rather than short-term profits. This exponential thinking enabled him to make decisions that seemed counterintuitive in the short term, but created massive value in the long term. Apply exponential thinking to your own goals by focusing on systems rather than outcomes, on capability building rather than immediate results, on long-term value creation rather than short-term rewards. Understand that your most important work may not produce immediately visible results, but is creating the foundation for exponential success in the future. I want to take a moment here to encourage you once more to subscribe to this channel if these ideas are resonating with you. We're building a community of people who are committed to hope, growth, and making a positive difference in the world. Your subscription helps us reach more people who need these messages and ensures you don't miss any of the content we're creating to support your journey. Now let's discuss what I call the Hope Mastery Framework, a comprehensive approach to building and maintaining unshakable hope that integrates all the principles and practices we've covered into a systematic approach for lifelong growth and achievement. The Hope Mastery Framework consists of 4 levels, each building upon the previous level and creating greater stability and power in your ability to maintain hope and take effective action regardless of external circumstances. Level 1 is Hope Foundation. This level focuses on building the basic mental and emotional habits that support consistent optimism and forward-focused thinking. At this level, you establish morning and evening routines that reinforce positive expectations. You develop the habit of looking for evidence that supports your dreams, rather than evidence that contradicts them. You practice gratitude for current resources while maintaining excitement about future possibilities. The practices at this level are simple but essential. Daily visualization of your goals as already achieved. Regular affirmation of your capabilities and worthiness. Consistent action toward your dreams, even when the actions are small. Systematic avoidance of information and influences that undermine your confidence or motivation. Most people never progress beyond this level because they don't consistently practice these foundational habits. But those who do establish these practices create a stable platform for building more advanced capabilities. Level 2 is hope resilience. This level focuses on developing your ability to maintain hope and take effective action even when facing significant challenges, setbacks, or opposition. At this level, you learn to see obstacles as opportunities, failures as feedback, and criticism as information rather than personal attacks. The practices at this level include challenge reframing techniques that help you find opportunity within difficulty, failure analysis processes that extract maximum learning from every setback, emotional regulation strategies that help you maintain composure and clarity during stressful situations, support system development that ensures you have encouragement and guidance when facing challenging circumstances. Level 2 also includes developing what I call philosophical immunity, the ability to maintain your core beliefs and values, even when others disagree with you, discourage you, or predict your failure. This immunity protects your hope from being infected by the doubts, fears, and limitations of others. Level 3 is hope leadership. This level focuses on using your hope not just for personal achievement, but for inspiring and empowering others to pursue their own dreams and overcome their own challenges. At this level, your hope becomes contagious and begins to multiply through your influence on others. The practices at this level include mentoring others who are facing challenges similar to those you've overcome, sharing your story in ways that inspire rather than boast, creating environments and opportunities that help others discover and pursue their potential, leading by example in pursuing seemingly impossible goals with persistent optimism and action. Level 3 also includes developing what I call vision casting abilities, the capacity to help others see possibilities they couldn't see on their own, to inspire action toward goals that seem beyond current capabilities, and to maintain group morale and momentum during difficult periods. Level 4 is hope mastery. This level represents the integration of hope into every aspect of your life and identity. At this level, hope is not something you practice, but something you are. You naturally see possibilities where others see problems. You automatically look for solutions rather than dwelling on obstacles. You instinctively inspire others to believe in themselves and their dreams. At this level, your hope is unshakable not because your circumstances are always positive, but because you've developed such deep confidence in your ability to handle any circumstance that external conditions no longer determine your internal state. You've learned to find meaning in challenges, growth in setbacks, and opportunity in every situation. The mastery level also includes what I call legacy creation, the understanding that your hope and achievements serve not just your generation but future generations. You begin to think in terms of the impact your example will have on your children, your community, and the world long after you're gone. Let me illustrate this framework through the story of Abraham Lincoln, whose journey from poverty to the presidency demonstrates all 4 levels of hope mastery. Lincoln began at the foundation level, developing basic optimism and forward thinking. Despite being born into circumstances that offered little reason for hope, his family was poor, his formal education was minimal, and his early business ventures failed. But Lincoln established the habit of reading, learning, and believing that education and effort could overcome any disadvantage of birth or circumstance. Lincoln progressed to the resilience level during his years as a lawyer and politician, facing numerous defeats and setbacks that could have ended his political career. He lost his first bid for the legislature, failed in business, was defeated in his first run for Congress, lost his first Senate campaign, and was rejected for numerous political appointments. Each setback could have convinced him to abandon his political dreams, but Lincoln learned to see defeats as preparation for ultimate victory. Lincoln reached the leadership level during his presidency, when he had to maintain hope not just for himself, but for an entire nation facing its greatest crisis. During the Civil War, Lincoln's hope was tested by military defeats, political opposition, personal criticism, and the enormous casualties of battle. But Lincoln's unshakable hope in the possibility of preserving the Union and ending slavery inspired others to continue fighting even when victory seemed impossible. Lincoln achieved the mastery level through his understanding that the Civil War was about more than preserving the Union or even ending slavery. It was about proving that democracy itself was viable, that a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to equality could survive and thrive. Lincoln's hope was connected to a vision that extended far beyond his own lifetime and included the welfare of future generations. Lincoln's Gettysburg Address demonstrates this mastery-level hope. In just a few minutes, Lincoln transformed a cemetery dedication into a recommitment to the principles that made the sacrifices meaningful. He connected the hope of the living to the sacrifice of the dead, the present struggle to the future promise, the immediate pain to the ultimate purpose. This is what hope mastery looks like. It's the ability to find meaning in suffering, to maintain vision during chaos, to inspire others when you yourself are facing enormous challenges, and to connect present struggles to future possibilities that make those struggles worthwhile. You don't have to be a president facing a civil war to apply these same principles to your own life and challenges. Whatever obstacles you're facing, whatever dreams you're pursuing, whatever impact you want to make, the same framework applies. Start by building your foundation of daily practices that reinforce optimism and forward-focused thinking. Progress to developing resilience that helps you maintain hope during challenging periods. Advance to leadership that enables you to inspire hope in others. Work toward mastery that integrates hope so deeply into your identity that it becomes your natural response to any situation. Now let's discuss what I call hope multiplication, the process by which your personal development of unshakable hope creates positive ripple effects that extend far beyond your immediate circumstances and influence. When you develop genuine, unshakable hope, you become what I call a hope catalyst. Your presence, your example, your energy, and your perspective begin to influence others in ways that multiply the positive impact of your own growth and achievements. This multiplication happens through several mechanisms. First, modeling. When others see you maintaining hope and taking effective action despite challenges, they receive permission to hope and act boldly in their own lives. Your example demonstrates that obstacles can be overcome, that dreams can be achieved, that setbacks are temporary, and comebacks are possible. Second, inspiration. Your story of overcoming challenges and pursuing dreams inspires others to pursue their own goals more courageously. When people see that someone like them has achieved meaningful success, they begin to believe that similar success is possible for themselves. Third, education. As you develop hope mastery, you naturally begin to share the principles, practices, and perspectives that have served you. This sharing multiplies the impact of your learning and helps others avoid some of the mistakes and setbacks that you experienced. Fourth, opportunity creation. As you achieve success and build influence, you create opportunities for others to grow, contribute, and succeed. Your achievements become platforms for elevating others rather than just personal accomplishments. This multiplication effect means that your commitment to developing unshakable hope serves not just your own life, but potentially countless other lives. Every person you inspire to pursue their dreams more boldly, every person you encourage to maintain hope during challenges, every person you help to see possibilities they couldn't see before represents a multiplication of your positive impact. Consider how this multiplication worked in the life of Maya Angelou. Angelou faced enormous challenges, including poverty, racism, sexual abuse, and periods of muteness as a child. Any one of these challenges could have justified a lifetime of bitterness, victimhood, or limited thinking, but Angelou chose to develop hope based on her understanding that her experiences, rather than limiting her potential, were preparing her to help others who faced similar challenges. She transformed her pain into purpose, her struggles into strength, and her obstacles into opportunities to serve others. Angelou's hope multiplication occurred through her writing, speaking, teaching, and mentoring. Millions of people have been inspired by her example of overcoming seemingly insurmountable challenges. Thousands of people have been directly influenced by her teaching and mentoring. Countless individuals have found hope in her words during their own difficult periods. But the multiplication didn't stop with those directly influenced by Angelou. Each person she inspired went on to inspire others. Each person she encouraged went on to encourage others. Each person she empowered went on to empower others. The ripple effects of her hope continue expanding decades after her passing. This is the ultimate purpose of developing unshakable hope. It's not just about achieving your personal dreams or overcoming your individual challenges. It's about becoming a force for hope in the world, a catalyst for positive change that extends far beyond your immediate circumstances. Your hope matters not just to you, but to everyone whose life you touch. Your persistence in pursuing dreams despite obstacles gives others permission to persist in pursuing their dreams. Your refusal to give up on yourself encourages others to refuse to give up on themselves. Your commitment to growth and contribution creates opportunities for others to grow and contribute. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with what I call the hope commitment, a comprehensive framework for applying everything we've discussed and making unshakable hope a permanent part of your identity and approach to life. The hope commitment consists of 7 promises you make to yourself. 7 ways of thinking and acting that will gradually transform you into someone for whom hope is not just an emotion, but a way of being. Promise 1. I commit to seeing possibilities where others see problems. This means training your mind to automatically look for opportunities within challenges. To ask, how might this work? Before asking, why won't this work? To focus on solutions rather than dwelling on obstacles. Promise 2. I commit to taking action based on my vision rather than my circumstances. This means making decisions based on where you're going rather than where you've been. Choosing behaviors that align with your goals rather than behaviors that match your current situation, and acting with confidence even when you don't feel confident. Promise 3. I commit to learning from every experience, whether positive or negative. This means approaching failures as feedback, setbacks as education, and challenges as opportunities for strength development. It means refusing to waste any experience by failing to extract its lessons and value. Promise 4. I commit to surrounding myself with people, information, and environments that support my growth and reinforce my hope. This means being selective about who you spend time with, what content you consume, and what environments you create or choose to inhabit. Promise 5. I commit to serving something greater than my immediate self-interest. This means connecting your personal goals to your desire to contribute, understanding how your success enables you to serve others more effectively, and maintaining hope not just for yourself, but for the positive impact you can make in the world. Promise 6. I commit to maintaining faith in possibilities even when current evidence suggests otherwise. This means believing in your dreams even when progress is slow, trusting in your capabilities even when others doubt them, and holding on to hope even when circumstances are challenging. Promise 7. I commit to inspiring hope in others through my example, my words, and my actions. This means understanding that your hope is not just personal, but has the potential to positively influence everyone whose life you touch. These 7 promises, when lived consistently, transform hope from an occasional emotion into a permanent aspect of your character. They create what I call hope integrity, the alignment between your deepest values and your daily actions, between your highest aspirations and your moment-by-moment choices. Let me share one final story that illustrates the ultimate power of unshakable hope. It's the story of a young girl born in Alabama in 1913 who contracted polio at age 6 and was told she would never walk again. The doctors said her left leg was permanently damaged and that she should accept a life of limitation and dependency. But this girl's family refused to accept that verdict. Her mother took her twice a week, 90 miles each way, to Nashville for physical therapy treatments. Her brothers and sisters took turns massaging her leg 4 times a day. The girl herself refused to believe that her current condition was her permanent destiny. Every day, she visualized herself not just walking, but running. She imagined herself competing in sports, winning races, achieving things that seemed impossible from her current circumstances. She held on to this vision with such intensity that it became more real to her than her physical limitations. Gradually, miraculously, she began to regain movement in her leg. First tiny movements, then larger ones. First with braces, then with special shoes, then without any assistance at all. By age 12, she could walk normally. By age 16, she was competing in track and field. That girl was Wilma Rudolph, who went on to become the fastest woman in the world, winning 3 gold medals in the 1960 Olympics in Rome. But her greatest achievement wasn't her athletic success. Her greatest achievement was proving that hope, combined with consistent action and unwavering faith, can overcome any obstacle and achieve any dream. Rudolph understood something that every person with unshakable hope understands. She understood that limitations are often temporary, but our response to limitations can be permanent. She understood that circumstances don't determine destiny, but our interpretation of circumstances and our response to circumstances do determine destiny. Most importantly, Rudolph understood that hope is not passive, waiting for better conditions. Hope is active engagement with current conditions from a perspective of unlimited possibility. Hope is the decision to see potential where others see problems, to see opportunity where others see obstacles, to see beginnings where others see endings. This is the hope I want to leave you with today. Not wishful thinking or naive optimism, but intelligent, strategic, unshakable hope based on your understanding that you have within you everything you need to overcome any challenge and achieve any goal that aligns with your values and serves your purpose. You have the ability to see possibilities that don't yet exist in physical reality. You have the capacity to take action even when the path ahead is unclear. You have the strength to persist through temporary setbacks and challenges. You have the wisdom to learn from every experience and use that learning to grow stronger and more capable. Most importantly, you have the power to choose hope over fear, faith over doubt, action over paralysis, growth over stagnation, contribution over selfishness, and love over bitterness, regardless of what circumstances you're currently facing. Your hope matters. Your dreams matter, your growth matters, your contribution matters, not just to you, but to everyone whose life will be touched by the person you become through pursuing those dreams with unshakable hope and determined action. The world needs what you have to offer. The world needs the unique combination of gifts, experiences, perspectives, and passions that only you possess. The world needs the solutions you'll discover, the problems you'll solve, the people you'll inspire, and the positive changes you'll create. But the world can only benefit from your potential if you refuse to give up on yourself. If you maintain hope, even when hope seems unreasonable. If you continue taking action even when action seems futile. If you persist in believing in your dreams even when others doubt those dreams. This is not just about achieving personal success, though success will likely come. This is about becoming the person you were meant to be, making the contribution you were meant to make, and living the life you were meant to live. Every day you wake up, you have a choice. You can choose to focus on limitations or possibilities. You can choose to dwell on problems or seek solutions. You can choose to be discouraged by challenges or energized by opportunities for growth. You can choose to let circumstances determine your internal state or to let your internal state influence your external circumstances. Choose hope. Choose action. Choose growth. Choose contribution. Choose to believe in yourself and your dreams with such intensity that your belief becomes contagious and begins to positively influence everyone around you. Start today. Start right now. Start with one small action that moves you toward your dreams. Start with one positive thought about your capabilities. Start with one decision to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. Your future self is waiting for you to make the choices today that will create the life you truly desire. That future self believes in you completely, knows that you have what it takes to succeed, and is cheering you on even when you can't hear the encouragement. The path from where you are to where you want to be may not be easy, but it is possible. Others have traveled similar paths. Others have overcome similar obstacles. Others have transformed similar dreams into reality. What they did, you can do. What they achieved, you can achieve. What they became, you can become. But only if you refuse to give up on yourself. Only if you maintain unshakable hope in your potential and your possibilities. Only if you continue taking action even when progress seems slow and success seems distant. Before we close, I want to encourage you one final time to subscribe to this channel and to share this message with someone who needs to hear it. We're building a community of people who refuse to settle for less than their full potential, who maintain hope even in challenging circumstances, and who use their growth to make a positive difference in the world. Your subscription helps us reach more people who need these messages of hope and empowerment. Your sharing multiplies the impact of these ideas and potentially changes lives. Your participation in this community connects you with others who share your commitment to growth and contribution. Remember, hope is not a luxury reserved for people with perfect circumstances. Hope is a necessity for anyone who wants to create meaningful change in their life and in the world. Hope is available to you regardless of your past, your present circumstances, or the challenges you're currently facing. Hope is your birthright. Hope is your choice. Hope is your power. Hope is your gift to yourself and to everyone whose life you touch. Choose hope today. Choose hope tomorrow. Choose hope every day until hope becomes so natural, so automatic, so integrated into your identity that you become a beacon of hope for others who are struggling to find their way. Your dreams are calling to you. Your potential is waiting to be expressed. Your contribution is needed. Your time is now. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for complete confidence. Don't wait for guaranteed outcomes. Perfect conditions rarely come. Complete confidence is built through action, not before action. Guaranteed outcomes exist only in imagination, not in reality. What does exist is your capacity to hope, to dream, to act, to persist, to grow, to contribute, and to become the person you were meant to be. What does exist is your ability to transform challenges into opportunities, setbacks into comebacks, and dreams into reality. What does exist is this moment, right now, when you can decide to embrace unshakable hope as your approach to life, your response to challenges, and your gift to the world. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The time is now. Choose hope. Act on hope. Live from hope. Share hope. Your best life is waiting for you on the other side of that choice. Thank you for listening. Thank you for growing. Thank you for refusing to give up on yourself and your dreams. Now go make it happen. The world is waiting for what you have to offer, and your unshakable hope will light the way. About specific daily practices that will help you implement these foundations and build unshakable hope into the fabric of your everyday life. The first practice is what I call morning visioning. This means starting each day with a 10 to 15-minute practice of mentally rehearsing your ideal day, visualizing your long-term goals as already achieved, and setting clear intentions for how you want to think, feel, and act throughout the day. During your morning visioning, you're not just daydreaming. You're training your subconscious mind to recognize opportunities that align with your goals. You're programming your reticular activating system to notice resources and possibilities that support your dreams. You're creating emotional alignment between your current state and your desired state. Begin by finding a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes and take several deep breaths to center yourself. Then begin to visualize your day unfolding exactly as you would like it to. See yourself handling challenges with grace and confidence. See yourself making progress on your most important projects. See yourself interacting with others from a place of strength and authenticity. Next, expand your vision to your long-term goals. See yourself living in your ideal environment, doing your ideal work, having your ideal relationships, making your ideal contribution. Make the images as vivid as possible. Include colors, sounds, emotions, and physical sensations. The more real you can make the visualization, the more powerfully it will influence your subconscious programming. Finally, set clear intentions for how you want to show up during the day. Choose 3 qualities you want to embody, such as confidence, creativity, and compassion. Choose 3 actions you want to take that align with your long-term goals. Choose 3 ways you want to serve others or add value to the world. This practice might seem simple, but it's incredibly powerful. When you consistently start your days with clear vision and intention, you train your mind to look for evidence that supports your dreams, rather than evidence that contradicts them. You prime yourself to take actions that align with your goals, rather than actions that distract from them. The second daily practice is what I call evidence journaling. This means ending each day by writing down 3 pieces of evidence that your dreams are possible, that you're making progress, and that you have what it takes to succeed. Most people end their days by reviewing what went wrong, what they didn't accomplish, and what challenges they're facing. This creates a mental pattern of focusing on problems rather than possibilities, on limitations rather than opportunities. Evidence journaling reverses this pattern. By consciously looking for and recording evidence of your progress and potential, you train your mind to see the positive momentum in your life. You build confidence through documented proof of your capabilities and growth. Your evidence can include external achievements, like completing a project, having a productive conversation, or making progress on a goal. But it can also include internal growth, like handling a difficult situation with more patience than usual, choosing a positive response to a challenge, or maintaining hope despite temporary setbacks. The key is to look for evidence every day, even on days when nothing seems to go right. There's always evidence available if you're willing to look for it. Maybe you showed up even when you didn't feel like it. Maybe you learned something from a mistake. Maybe you helped someone else or expressed gratitude for something good in your life. Over time, your evidence journal becomes a powerful resource for maintaining hope during difficult periods. When you're facing challenges and your confidence is shaken, you can read through your entries and remind yourself of all the evidence that supports your dreams and demonstrates your capabilities. The third daily practice is what I call power statement repetition. This means creating and consistently repeating affirmations that reinforce your identity as someone who achieves their goals, overcomes challenges, and creates the life they desire. Your power statements should be personal, present tense, and emotionally compelling. Instead of generic affirmations like, "I am successful," create specific statements that align with your goals and challenges. For example, "I am someone who finds creative solutions to every challenge," or "I am building the skills and connections I need to create my ideal career," or "I am worthy of love and capable of creating meaningful relationships." The key to effective power statement repetition is not just saying the words, but feeling the emotions associated with the statements. When you repeat your power statements, imagine how it feels to be the person described in the statement. Embody the confidence, the satisfaction, the excitement of being someone who consistently achieves their goals. Repeat your power statements during your morning visioning, throughout the day when you need encouragement, and before bed as you're falling asleep. The more consistently you repeat them, the more deeply they'll be programmed into your subconscious mind. Some people resist affirmations because they feel fake or forced. But remember, you're already programming your mind with statements about yourself every day. The question is whether you're programming it with empowering statements or limiting statements. Power statement repetition simply ensures that you're consciously choosing what gets programmed rather than leaving it to chance. The fourth daily practice is what I call growth action commitment. This means identifying one specific action each day that moves you toward your goals, stretches your capabilities, or serves your larger purpose, and then following through on that action regardless of how you feel. Growth actions don't have to be large or dramatic. They can be as simple as making one phone call, writing one page, exercising for 20 minutes, or learning something new for 30 minutes. The key is consistency, not intensity. Small actions taken consistently create far greater results than large actions taken occasionally. Your growth action should be something that requires you to move beyond your comfort zone, to do something that the old version of yourself might have avoided or postponed. It should be something that builds evidence of your commitment to change and your willingness to do what success requires. By committing to one growth action per day, you ensure that you're making progress toward your goals, even on days when you don't feel motivated. You build momentum through consistent action rather than waiting for perfect conditions or ideal emotions. Over time, this practice creates a powerful identity shift. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who keeps commitments, someone who does what they say they're going to do. This identity becomes a foundation for achieving increasingly larger goals and taking on increasingly greater challenges. The fifth daily practice is what I call appreciation meditation. This means spending 5 to 10 minutes each day in conscious appreciation for the people, opportunities, and resources that are supporting your journey toward your dreams. Appreciation meditation is different from general gratitude practice because it's specifically focused on building hope and momentum. You're not just appreciating what you have, but appreciating how what you have is contributing to what you're creating. During your appreciation meditation, focus on 3 categories. First, appreciate the people who are supporting your growth, either directly through their actions or indirectly through their example. Second, appreciate the opportunities that are available to you, both those you're currently pursuing and those you can see on the horizon. Third, appreciate the resources you already have, including your knowledge, skills, experiences, and personal qualities. As you focus on each item of appreciation, don't just think about it intellectually. Feel genuine gratitude and excitement about how these people, opportunities, and resources are contributing to your success. Allow yourself to feel supported, resourced, and confident about your ability to achieve your goals. This practice creates an emotional state that attracts more people, opportunities, and resources into your life. When you genuinely appreciate what you have, you become a magnet for more good things. When you recognize the support that's already available to you, you become more likely to notice and access additional support. The sixth daily practice is what I call challenge reframing. This means consciously choosing to interpret difficulties, setbacks, and obstacles as opportunities for growth, learning, and strength development, rather than as evidence that your dreams are impossible. Every day presents challenges, both large and small. The difference between people who maintain hope and people who lose hope is not the absence of challenges, but the interpretation of challenges. People with unshakable hope have learned to see challenges as necessary parts of the growth process rather than unwelcome interruptions to their progress. When you face a challenge during the day, practice immediately asking yourself empowering questions. Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of, "This is too difficult," ask, "How can I grow through this?" Instead of, "I don't think I can handle this," ask, "What strengths can I develop by handling this?" This practice doesn't mean pretending that challenges are easy or pleasant. It means choosing to focus on how challenges can serve your long-term development rather than how they interfere with your short-term comfort. Challenge reframing is a skill that becomes stronger with practice. The more consistently you choose empowering interpretations of difficult situations, the more automatically your mind will generate those interpretations. Over time, you'll find that challenges that would have previously discouraged you now energize you, because you'll see them as opportunities to prove your resilience and build your capabilities. Let me share with you the story of Helen Keller, whose challenges seemed insurmountable. Born deaf and blind, Keller could have easily been overwhelmed by the obstacles she faced. Instead, she chose to see her limitations as opportunities to develop extraordinary capacities in other areas. Keller didn't just overcome her challenges. She transformed them into sources of strength, insight, and inspiration. She became the first deaf-blind person to earn a bachelor's degree. She became an internationally known speaker and author. She became an advocate for people with disabilities and a champion for social justice. Her challenges, rather than limiting her impact, actually amplified her influence and enabled her to touch millions of lives. Keller understood something profound about the relationship between challenges and growth. She understood that our greatest limitations often become our greatest strengths, that our deepest struggles often prepare us for our most meaningful contributions, and that what seems like a curse can be transformed into a blessing through the right mindset and consistent action. You may not face challenges as dramatic as Helen Keller's, but the principle remains the same. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to develop qualities, skills, and strengths that you wouldn't develop otherwise. Every obstacle you overcome increases your confidence and capability. Every setback you recover from builds your resilience and determination. The seventh daily practice is what I call future self-dialogue. This means having regular conversations with the version of yourself who has already achieved your goals, asking for guidance, encouragement, and perspective from the person you're becoming. This might sound unusual, but it's based on solid psychological principles. Your brain doesn't distinguish clearly between imagination and reality, especially when the imagination is vivid and emotionally charged. When you regularly visualize and dialogue with your future successful self, you're programming your subconscious mind with the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of that successful version of yourself. During your future self-dialogue, imagine sitting down with the version of yourself who has achieved your most important goals. Ask this future self for advice about the challenges you're currently facing. Ask for encouragement about the path you're on. Ask for perspective about the obstacles that seem overwhelming right now. Listen for the answers that come from your intuition, your deeper wisdom, your highest self. Your future self might remind you that current challenges are temporary, that every successful person has faced similar obstacles, that you have everything you need to succeed, and that the journey is just as important as the destination. This practice helps you access wisdom and perspective that gets obscured when you're caught up in day-to-day challenges. It reminds you that there's a version of yourself who has already figured out how to overcome current obstacles and achieve desired goals. It connects you with the confidence and clarity that belongs to the person you're becoming. You can enhance this practice by writing letters from your future self to your current self, offering encouragement, guidance, and reminders of why your dreams are worth pursuing. You can also visualize your future self, celebrating your success, and expressing gratitude for the persistence and faith that your current self is demonstrating. Champions, your mind has been forged a little stronger today, but the real test isn't what you learned, it's what you do with it. Take action, dominate your day, and remember, we're not just building better thoughts, we're forging unstoppable lives. The forge doesn't stop, and neither do you. If this episode hit you where it counts, subscribe to Mental Forge Academy and join the Brotherhood of Champions who refuse to settle for ordinary. Go transform, strike while the mind is hot.